Welcome everyone to the land of fire here in Azerbaijan for the second round of the Talent Factory League Season 4. Here to the streets of Baku. The circuit only exists from 2016. First year it was used for racing, and every year a race has been held on the circuit. A different winner came out, so there's actually 5 different winners here at the circuit, because in 2020 there wasn't a Grand Prix, so there's 5 different winners, with the latest being Sergio Perez for Red Bull Honda. And let's see who wins the race here tonight. But first, we need to have the qualifying Q1, Q2, Q3 full qualifying session here in the Talent Factory League. And with 17 players who will come out on top. First one out, a Ferrari. And it's the Ferrari of TFL Charles. Of course, in real life, the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc actually took pole position on this track. What can TFL Charles do here today at the circuit? Leclerc took pole here in 2021. As did he take the fastest lap here in 2019, and he didn't get beaten in 2021 because of the regulation changes. So the man actually has 2 very important statistics behind his name. The Ferrari of EFR Milan behind, the Mercedes of EFR Milan behind. Talking about Mercedes, 3 different wins here at the circuit in 2016, 2018 and 2019. And Red Bull Honda being the only other constructor that's won here at the Baku City circuit. On board with Charles for the moment as he goes for his hot lap. Let's turn on the telemetry and lap data and go for a lap on board with Charles over the finish line, braking just when the curb starts, turning in to the left-hander, then braking at the 50-meter board, all 90-degree corners here at the start of the circuit. And that is just a characterization of the first sector, braking just behind the 100-meter board. Just a small lock-up for Charles as we head to the right and get a first sector time of 34.3, and now heading towards the famous castle section of the track. And here is where it gets really tricky for most of the drivers. Just a little bit hesitant for Charles going through the castle section. This doesn't seem like the best lap he can do, but it will be a banker lap. And we'll see some drivers taking the curb here heavily, as does Charles, and some drivers not taking that curb too aggressively. It's a bit of a risk versus reward there at the curb. Charles choosing to go over the curb. And now it's a run down towards the finish line. The long straight towards turn 1. And we've seen some very important moves here being made over the course of all the races that have been held here. Take for example Lance Stroll being overtaken at the line as Yüksel goes for 137.87 thousandths faster than the time of Charles. Lance Stroll being overtaken here at the line for P2. We'll go on board with the... let's look at the Haas of Indonesia Ilian. So Lance Stroll being overtaken for P2 by Valtteri Bottas after Bottas fell down to last place here in 2017. Indonesia Ilian goes to 39.8. Definitely not the fastest he can do, as the McLaren of Damiano Insanity comes over the line to start his hot lap. Julian meanwhile goes to a 138.0, and behind the AlphaTauri of Yarizan goes back into the pit lane. Behind him, Davy is the McLaren on the hot lap. So yeah, not only Stroll being overtaken at the line, Magnussen overtaking 2 cars here in 2017 as well, as Daniel Ricciardo overtook 3 cars going into turn 1 here also in 2017. Davy now starting his hot lap. So his previous lap was probably his out lap, or telemetry did not show that. Let's go on board with Meneer van den Bergen in the Alpine. Oh, as Indonesia Ilian gets a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with TFL Julian. That's not what he likes to see. What on earth happened there? As Meneer van den Bergen goes to 137.7, fastest for now. But the lap I'd like to see, as Joop goes for his hot lap now. The lap I'd like to see is the lap from IFR Milan. As Damiano Insanity goes for 38.8. IFR Milan, I'm very interested to see that lap. He has the second time on the leaderboards. Here at Baku. So expect him to be very fast. And as we saw last time at Bahrain, pole position was decided by 5 drivers within 1/10 of a second, or almost 1/10. I thought the 5th driver was just a bit slower, just more behind than 1/10, but a lot of drivers being very close to pole position, and as I expect nothing less from today. CTS Jano goes 137.8, P2 on the grid. Nice time from the Alpine driver, Williams driver, sorry. All those colors of blue looking like each other. The Ferrari of Joop. Oh, Joop. Does he have a front wing? He doesn't have a front wing, so he probably hit the wall at the castle section. Probably. Or any of the other walls, of course. Does he go into the pits? Yes, of course he goes into the pits. Yeah, the street circuit really, as Damiano Insanity goes for another lap in the McLaren, really tests your skill. As TFL Sven goes at 37.5, beats the provisional pole. Provisional pole, let's not say that, as Davy gives Damiano a slipstream here. Nice teamwork by the McLaren guys. So not pole position yet, but at least P1 for the session. The Mercedes of Milan, of course, going fastest of all with a 36.8, 7/10 faster than Sven in the Alfa Romeo. That is some time to have. And we said it, second place on the leaderboard. I expected nothing less, but he lets the competition know that he's a force to be reckoned with today. Let's go to the McLaren of Charles. He's on another outlap, so he goes for another hot lap right now. And the Aston Martin behind of Julian on another hot lap as well. Let's go through some people. Yeah, Yagizan just exiting the real final corner of the circuit. Just zigzagging through the final sector and going towards the line. Yagizan, a really fast driver, and last time out in Bahrain, not really getting the result he hoped for. And hopefully he'll do a lot better today. He gets pretty close to the time of Milan. He sets the second time with 1:37.0, 5 tenths faster than Sven, but almost 2 tenths behind Milan. And there's a yellow flag in sector 2. Looks like a Haas. Yes, the Haas of Steph, IFRA Steph. Doesn't he have any fuel left? That might be the thing that is going on here. As we'll go on board with Charles for now. What can he do? Can he improve his time? He's 2.5 tenths up on his previous time, so he probably won't improve. And behind, the Red Bull of Fruitful, now going for his hot lap, so he's now in his out lap. We'll go over the finish to start his hot lap. And let's go on board with the IFR driver for this lap. Going through turn 1, looked pretty clean. As there's yellow in the final sector, AlphaTauri just going a bit slow, probably just letting the other cars through. Going from 8th to 2nd gear here, upshifting to 3rd gear, and he's gone off the power. Fruitful probably thought it wasn't a good enough lap time, so just going off throttle. And he'll try for another lap because he hasn't set a lap time yet. Let's go on board with the Mercedes of Black Box. Where can he put his Mercedes? Can he put it on P1 or maybe P2 next to his teammates? Oh, Black Box hitting the wall. I think with the rear left tire. Rear right tire, sorry. 34.1 first sector time as he heads towards the castle section. And this curb here, you can really take it very aggressively. Oh, the Haas. Luckily, that's ghosting when active. Otherwise, Black Box would have had a problem. But both Haas cars out already. So Steph and Elian both out here in Q1. So it surely means Fruitful and Black Box, with minimal effort, just setting a lap time, can get through to Q2. In very similar conditions we saw last time. As Black Box gets a tow from Julian, Julian going slowly on the left hand side of the road. Black Box, what can he set? He sets a 3rd time of 1:37.3, 5 tenths behind his teammate. And CTS Jarno goes faster on his lap. Can he keep that advantage going towards the finish line? He can keep the advantage. It's 75 thousandths faster than his previous lap time, which puts him P7 instead of P8. But no matter, because he's already through. These are all different, all other drivers here in Q1, except for Steph and Elian. And no, sorry, Steph has a 37.7 to his name. Does have a lap time, but 37.7 is actually faster than the pre-13 time of 1:38.9 from Joop. So I don't know what's going on there. As we go on board with you. As he has an invalid lap time. Nosia Ilan 139.8. As jumped up a driver. Oh, Fruitful set a lap time for P12 137.9, so he's safe. Jerry van Bussel at P17. He's not safe yet. Set a 140.2. But I'm curious what happened with the guy that's at the moment P15, IFRA Steph. Did he get disqualified from the session? And I didn't notice it, but I don't think that is the case, because then he would have been last place. But he's P15 at the moment. We'll go on board with the Alfa Romeo for his hot lap. As Q1 goes below the 2-minute mark, Jerry begins his lap in the Alfa Romeo. Oh, really close to the wall on the left hand side. And just hitting the wall on the right hand side. Jerry searching the limits on his lap. As Joop goes out again in the Ferrari. Oh, almost losing it. And what will be his first sector time is a 34.3 at the moment, 63 thousandths of a second faster than what he said previously. But I expect him to have made a mistake somewhere in the middle or third sector, probably the middle sector. And it looks like a tight lap from Jerry at the moment. So it probably will be an improvement. Will he take the curb on the left hand side here? He won't take the curb, so it's just not worth it to him to take the curb and risk any damage. And I think that's a wise decision for now, because it just needs to set a lap time that's good enough for Q2. It's not necessary to push yet, as Davy behind chooses his hot lap very well, as Jerry goes P7, 37.7. Davy getting the slipstream from Jerry actually on that lap, and he knows it's good enough already for Q2, but he's setting a lap time anyway, as the flag has fallen on Q1. So Davy maybe wanting to make a statement, wanting to test out the track one more time before going into Q2. Missing the apex there at the chicane. Cutting a lot of curb here on the inside, and that is an invalid lap time because he got too much curb this time. And that means the drivers that are out are TF Joop in P16 and Inosia Elian in P17. Steph, Davy, Fruitful, Charles and Yüksel would have been out if it were Q2, but it isn't. This is still Q1. And the positions 16 through 20 will go out. And there's only two drivers here that are in those positions. Those will go out. Davy going into the pit lane. Joop behind in the Ferrari. Joop actually trying to set another lap time. He's 2 tenths up and he's pinned it into the wall, and that's a heavy crash for Joop in the Ferrari. With yeah, that's not the best way to end the session, but he wouldn't have made Q2 anyway. So fastest here in Q1, IFR Milan. 1/10 behind Yagizan in the AlphaTauri, and the teammate of Milan, Black Box, in P3 in the Mercedes. Just a little bit over 4/10 behind. Bring on Q2. And will we see some tire differences in the hot laps? Which of course puts them on a different strategy for the race. I think both Mercedes drivers and the AlphaTauri driver of Yagizan will try the medium tire. But it's very difficult here to get through on one of those alternative tires. Because of the fact that the lap is so long, you will lose a lot of time on those mediums. So I'm curious to see if we will see any hot laps set on the mediums that are good enough for Q3. And so the timer has started. 15 minutes on the clock here in Q2. As we wait for the first driver to go out. A little bit more track info. Track, as we said, opened in 2016. But did you know that in 2016 this was not called the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but actually the Grand Prix of Europe? Grand Prix of Europe. A lot of races have been held under the name the Grand Prix of Europe. The Grand Prix of the former Grand Prix of Europe. Well, in 2016, the track here held the Grand Prix of Europe. The year after, in 2017. The name was changed to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And that name has been held since. And we saw the first drivers going out. And front of the pack is Milan in the Mercedes. And just behind is the Ferrari of Charles. So both guys once again first of the runners out. Milan wants to set the fastest lap time on his medium tire. So he's on a medium tire. Let's look at the different tires. We saw a lot of drivers actually going for the medium tire on their first run. So that's interesting to see. But will any of those lap times be good enough for Q3? Milan exiting the real final corner of the circuit. And he'll go over the line first to set a lap time on those medium tires. Charles behind does have the benefit of the slipstream. Oh, there's a lock-up for Milan. But does it affect his lap time enough for him to stop pushing now? No, it doesn't. He'll keep going for now on the medium tire. DRS wide open for both drivers. If there's one driver that has the potential today to get through to Q3 on those medium tires, I think it's Milan. Perfectly hitting or avoiding the curbs there at the chicane. And you see, he's cutting a lot of the inside curb, as Davey tried to do in Q1. Oh, so close to the barriers here at the castle for Milan. It looks like a really, really good lap for the medium tires. Oh, that's a little bit too much curb, and he does set an invalid lap time, as has Charles. Charles also an invalid lap time. And Van den Berg, the first driver on the medium not to have invalidated his lap. McLaren behind, probably a bit too far back to have any advantage of slipstream. Meneer Van der Berg in the Alpine cars will go provisional pole, because he's the first one to set a lap time, and it will be a lap time of 1:38.3. We saw a lot faster lap times before, as Sven goes 1:37.5, as Yagizan immediately goes 1:10 faster, 1:37.4. Davy 1:37.9, all on the medium tire. Yüksel 37.8 on the soft tire. Behind Jerry van Busselset, 53.4. Probably stopped pushing on his lap, as Leonard went P4 unnoticed at 37.9 on the medium tire. So a lot of drivers actually trying the medium tire. But will it be good enough? I think that's an L. Williams. Williams just going off the escape road to get out of the way of the other drivers. Now continuing on his way. Davy letting Jarno pass. As we go on board with Damiano Insanity in the McLaren. It's yellow sector 2 and 3. And green flags already. Where can Damiano go? P13 at the moment. What happened to the Mercedes in sector 3? As Damiano goes P6, 37.9. Beat his teammate slightly. It's the Mercedes of Milan. I think just waiting for the other drivers to get past. And he'll go into the pits. But what will he do? He set an invalid lap time the first time round. I think went for another push lap. And probably invalidated his push lap. Also invalidation for Fruitful. And the car that just went over the line is the Williams of Jarno. Jarno is just maneuvering through those cars on the second DRS straight in his Williams. And he's on a soft tire. It's a 34.5, so not the best sector time. And I don't think with this pace, if the other drivers go for softs, that will be good enough for Q3. You see, every time they are going through the cuts section, there is so much risk of just crashing down there. And I expect a crash to happen there during the race. Jarno avoiding the curb of turn 15. And at the end of sector 2, a 1:13.4. Now it's on the power to the finish line. Can he go fastest of all here on with the soft tire? Would expect him to do so. DRS open. Where can CTS Jarno go? He'll go P3. P3. 37.7. 3/10 slower than Yagizan in P1. As Ferrari of Charles locks up on his medium tires and goes for another lap. Milan also on his outlap. I'm curious to see on which tire is he trying another hard lap. He's going to try it on the mediums. So Milan confident enough to try the mediums once again. And if he just puts the lap in that he knows he can do, I think he'll go through to Q3 with those medium tires. as the Red Bull of Fruitful goes P9 just in front, 38.2. Oh, Milan just locking up just like Charles did previously. As we head towards the second DRS straight. And that's Milan getting past Fruitful, who just set lap time good enough for P9. Very close to the barrier. Just on the limit. Just hitting the left hand curb, but not the right hand curb, and not the curb at the exit at the chicane. Just cutting a lot of this curb, and towards the castle section we go. Braking at the 50 meter bar. Just getting that close to the barrier. And now on the power towards turn 15. And hopefully for Milan doesn't get an invalidation this time. He doesn't get an invalidation at this time. It's a 112.8 after the second sector. And now it's on the power towards the finish line. Where will this man go? Will he go provisional pole? Will he go P2? Maybe not even top 3. I guess he'll be in the top 3. Will he take P1 though? He'll take P1. 3/10 faster than Yagi-san. And he goes P1 here in Q2 on the medium tire. But will this time be good enough to go through on those medium tires? I think so. But it will be close with the other drivers. But do take into consideration that some of these drivers have already set a lap time on the soft tires. Charles on his in lap, probably. Yes, doesn't have fuel anymore. Let's go on board with the Aston Martin of Julian. Julian going 1 second faster at the moment than he did previously, so he'll go for a low 37, maybe even taking provisional P1. But of course, he's on the soft tire, so he'll go for the soft start for the race, goes P2, 2/10 behind Milan. And that just goes to show how fast that lap was, as Davy goes P4 on the soft tire, 37.4. That just goes to show how fast the lap time of Milan was on those medium tires to still have pole position, of provisional pole at least, on those medium tires. He'll be an absolute rocket during the race. And the McLaren guys just trying to go for the slipstream once again. I don't think that was a perfectly executed one, but at least Damiano gets a bit of an advantage down the straight. And if there's any straight you'd like to do it here at Baku, it's the main straight. But at least there is an advantage for Damiano with the slipstream. As the Alpine of Meneer van den Bergen goes for his hot lap now, goes over the line now. As does the Alfa Romeo of Jari van Bussel. What does Damiano do? Does he take the curb? No, he doesn't take the curb. And although that looked faster going around the curb, I can tell you it definitely is not faster. It's a lot faster to go over the curb. Damiano P11 at the moment, 137.9. It's very close up to P7. Where can he go? It will be a 137.1, and it's P1 for Damiano Insanity, but it is on the soft tire, so he'll probably go through to Q3. I think that's black box. Yes, black box on the medium tire. So both Mercedes trying to go through to Q3 on the medium tire. as an AlphaTauri of Yagizan goes over the line now to start his hot lap. Davey retiring from the session, and it's the Red Bull of Fruitful going for his final hot lap now. Looks tidy. He was faster. I just saw that he was faster. I don't know exactly how much faster he was through the first sector. Oh, that did not look tidy at all. Black Box losing a lot of time. Will this lap be good enough for the top 10 for Black Box? He does go over the curb. He stays out of the barrier. At least didn't get damage. And he's 3.5 tenths faster than his previous lap. So that will put him P8 probably. So Black Box at the moment going for P8. Maybe P7. But it will be P5. Wow, P5. Did not see that coming. Good lap from Black Box. And then the McLaren of Damiano Insanity not setting a lap time. It's Yagizan on the medium tire. Trying another lap. And he does not improve. Then it's a Red Bull of Fruitful going 1 second faster. Goes P5. Knocks Sven out of qualifying. Sven is out of qualifying. Has set an invalid lap time. Fruitful knocking out Sven of qualifying. Meneer van den Bergen is P2. P12 stays P12. And behind we have the AlphaTauri of Leonard. P14 now. Crosses the line and goes P4. Knocks out the Alpine of Meneer van den Bergen. And Charles go P5. Knocking out TFL Davy. Last round's winner. And he is out of qualifying once again. As Davy did not make Q3 the last time out in Bahrain. As he doesn't do it again. Gets knocked out once again in Q2. Aston Martin of Yuxel P3. Meanwhile, did not notice him going P3. Good lap time from the Aston Martin. And that is the finishing order. So Yagizan by the skin of his teeth going through to Q3 on the medium tire, as does Black Box, as does Milan. So 3 drivers, the predicted top 3, going through to Q3 on those medium tires, and that surely will put them at a huge advantage for the race. As we wait another 20 seconds for the session to end. So it's Damiano Incenti from Milan, from Yuxel, your top 3. Behind it's Leonard, Charles, Julian, Fruitful, and we're just waiting for the full classification of Q2. As we were, Charles P5, Julian P6, Fruitful P7, Black Box P8, Jano P9, Yagizan P10. Out of Q2, Davy, Meneer van den Bergen, Jerry van Bussel and Sven. There apparently have been knocked out. There have been 3 drivers knocked out in Q1. And that's sometimes a thing that the game does when the lobby is not full of players. So 3 drivers knocked out in Q1, another 4 knocked out in Q2. And we're going to Q3 with these 10 drivers. You know, I have to bet on someone. I would have to go for Milan to take pole position, Yagizan to take P2 and Black Box to take P3 here at the Baku City Circuit. That is my prediction. Let us know in the comments what your predictions are. Let's look at the comments. So put your predictions for qualifying in the comments now. As the Ferrari is the first to go out on track once again. Charles in a hurry every session to go out on track. Maybe he does not want the traffic in front of him. And it's the AlphaTauri of Leonard behind. And behind him his teammate Yagizan. And information, the two Mercedes also behind. It's Milan from Black Box. Behind them, it's the Williams of Jarno and the Red Bull of Fruitful. And the AlphaTauri of Julian out on track also. And it looks like a race, but it most surely isn't yet. We'll go on board with Milan as he tries to go for pole position here at the Baku City Circuit. Goes on the power, not yet, no, goes on the power, yes, goes in the power towards the finish line to go for his fastest lap yet here in Baku. Just a massive rundown towards turn 1. And it's one car inside the garage for now, and that's Yüksel in the Aston Martin. Just enjoy this lap of Milan if he doesn't make any mistake, because it might well be the fastest lap we'll see today around the circuit. Braking at the 50-meter board, avoiding the apex. Just a little bit of a lock up at the chicane going towards the castle section. Once again cutting a lot of curb here on the inside. Towards the castle section. Oh, he's hit the wall! He's hit the wall! He's pushed too hard and hit the wall at the castle section. Milan not going for pole yet. So the first one over the line will be Leonard, who will set provisional pole, most surely, because he will be the first driver to set any lap time here in Q3. And behind him it's the Mercedes of Black Box. Leonard in the number 13 AlphaTauri. DRS open. Towards the line we go. And it will be a 1:37.2 for the AlphaTauri. Black Box behind 36.9. And Yagizan at 37.0. It's Ferrari of Charles 37.7 and Jarno 37.72. With Fruitful going P4 37.5 and the Mercedes of Milan going into the pit lane for a change of tires and probably a change of front wing. Julian also going into the pit lane, and the McLaren of Damiano Insanity are going P4 with 37.2. And at the moment it's just Milan missing at the top of the timing sheets, because he made a mistake in qualifying. We'll go for another lap later. But for now it's Black Box on provisional pole. And of course it's very important to have the tanker before things do go wrong later in the session. As we saw in real life, not possible on the game, but in real life we saw a red flag causing a mixed up grid here in Baku. And after Charles Leclerc set a pretty fast lap time in Q3, that got him the pole position after the red flag went out. But of course, not possible to get a red flag in the game. But it's still good to have the banker for if the second lap does not go as planned. Driver is going into the pit lane now. Just changing the tires for another run. Milan is going on his outlap already. So change the tires, change the front wing. And going for the fastest lap here in this session. At the moment, the only man out on track. There's 5 minutes and 25 seconds are left on the clock. I'm just preparing for his final lap. I think he can set one more lap after this one. That will be very close. But he'll go for a hot lap. Just going over start finish now to start his hot lap. Going over the curb while turning in for the first corner. And being as close to the wall as possible before turning open that DRS and heading towards turn 3. Another left-hander followed by another right-hander. All 90-degree corners. And let's turn on the telemetry and lap data at 33.8 for the first sector. And I can tell you that's pretty fast. Cutting the curb on the inside. This time flawlessly going through the castle section. With the first car of the runners going for their second run out. Now Yagizan going out. Oh, he's hit the wall very hard. Does he have damage? It doesn't look like he has damage from the offboard. But Milan is the one can judge that for the best. Let's hope for him that didn't affect his run massively. Will he go into the pits? Will he go into the pits? He will go into the pits. So once again a mistake from Milan. And that mistake may be costing him the pole position. If he changes his tires immediately, goes onto the track, then he might have enough time to set another lap time. Yagizan meanwhile going for his second run here in Q3. P2 at the moment, would like to beat one more driver with the name Black Box to go one position higher. And all he needs to do for that is improve by as little as 1/10 over a lap of almost 100 seconds. As we end the first sector, and it's an improvement of less than 1/10. So he needs to find some time here in the second sector and in the third sector, and it didn't look like a good turn there. But can he win that time back in the castle section? Not hitting the wall, staying out of trouble. And going towards turn 15. Risk versus reward. Will he take the curb on the left hand side? He will take the curb and he avoids the wall at the exit. What is his time? He's faster than Black Box's time for now. Heading towards the finish line. Can he keep this advantage going towards the line? If he does, it will put him in provisional pole. Turning open the DRS. What will this bring Yari-san? Will he go provisional pole? He will go provisional pole. 1/10 faster than Black Box. It's a 36.828. And that is the time to beat for all drivers now. As we go on board with the Mercedes of Black Box, who's gone 1/10 faster in the first sector already. So that's more time to be won for Black Box. But now not on provisional pole. Almost hitting the wall there. Oh, at the castle section, making a mistake, Black Box. Not hitting the wall, but just losing the rear end. And did that lose him the time he needed to beat the time of a 1:36.8? Let's see. He's 2/10 faster than his previous time, so he would be on for 36.7, and that would beat the provisional pole time of Yagi-san. So will Black Box relegate Yagi-san to P2 once again? He puts open the DRS, goes towards the finish line. It will be a 1:36.7 and beats the provisional pole time of the AlphaTauri man by less than 1/10 of a second. And then it's to the line, Jarno in the Williams, who improves by a bit more than 2/10 of a second, which will put him P5 on the grid. He goes P5 on the grid and is the first of the drivers to finish Q3. Next driver to go to the finish line is Yüksel. It will be a 1:37.3. It will be P5 for Yüksel, and his teammate Julian will set a P6, 37.3. Behind it's Fruitful in the Red Bull. Fruitful goes pole position here in Baku with a 36.7. Amazing lap from the Red Bull driver and shows his pace. Awesome lap time from Fruitful. 36.7, but will it be beat? And it looks like the game got disconnected, so we will go back very soon, very shortly, hopefully. At the moment it went crazy with the lap times. But we need an invite back into the session, and hopefully we'll be invited very soon. But we haven't been invited back. I think we have an invite now. No, we don't have an invite yet. So, bit of technical problems here for now, but luckily we have enough time to get back into the session. But let's talk about that pole time from Fruitful. 36.7, sorry. It's an amazing lap time, and I'm really curious if it got beaten. But let's try to get back into the session. Okay, as we wait to get back invited into the lobby. We haven't gotten an invite yet. Let's try to join the session. Yes, now we have gotten an invite. Finally. Session no longer exists, of course. Of course, due to the formation lab, race not starting yet, so we do have some time to get back into the session. And I think this one will work. Yes, we finally have gotten back into the session. Good, just in time for the race to start. And luckily, the technical difficulties solved before the start of the race. Okay, so Fruitful is on pole position in the Red Bull, black box behind, and Yagizan in P3 in the AlphaTauri. Damiano Incenti actually got P4 in his McLaren, with Leonard behind in P5, Charles in P6, P7 for Yüksel, P8 for Julian, P9 for Jarno, and Milan without a lap time in Q3 goes P10. And the other drivers, of course, we already saw their positions, but let's look at the different tires. So it's Fruitful on the soft tire and Blackbox and Yagizan on the medium tire. Rest of the top 10 except for Milan also on the soft tire. And all drivers behind Milan on the medium tire, so no hard tire. And I didn't expect at all for Fruitful to be in this position, because we know he's been struggling for the last couple of races that I saw him in, and he did struggle at Bahrain, because I know from Fruitful he is a very fast guy, and he didn't show his potential yet in the league, and I think that is due to him having turned off the line assists, just getting used to driving without a line. And we see what he can do when he knows what he's doing with the line turned off. We see that he is capable of setting very fast lap times, and this is just an example of it. Just waiting for the final cars to get behind, slot in their grid positions. And now it's waiting for the 5 lights to go on ahead of the drivers. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights on. The lights are out, the drivers are away, and it does look like a good start from Fruitful. He's in front of the Mercedes and the AlphaTauri, going into turn 1. The AlphaTauri of Yagizan trying to go around the outside of the Mercedes, but that doesn't pay off. Yüksel, meanwhile, in the Aston Martin, gets in front of Damiano Incenti into P4. Damiano Incenti getting relegated 1 position down. Further behind, It's a few positions still not made up. The Haas of Steph and Sven colliding there at turn 4. Going into the chicane, can Sven cut back on the Haas driver? Yes, he can. Can he get the run down towards the next corner? No, he can't. They make a little bit of contact, but it's the Haas car of IFRA Steph in front for now. So still Fruitful leading the pack from Black Box, from Yagizan, from Yüksel, from the McLaren of Damiano Insanity. While Jarno and Jerry van Bussel go side by side towards turn 15. Jarno getting ahead of Jerry in the Alfa Romeo, as Davy has made a pretty good start into P9 already, and whereas Milan having a very bad start into P17. So what has happened to him? Yellows in sector 3, and that's TTGA Leonard spun or hit the wall in the final sector, while we see the leaderboards on the left hand side just glitching a little bit. Takes a little bit of time, but that will fix itself, and we do see Fruitful still in the lead with Black Box close behind, while Leonard goes into the pit lane. He does go for a front wing change, and these positions not making any sense at all for now. But as we said, that will fix itself. Yüksel making a mistake coming out of the chicane. Charles getting in front of Yüksel, getting in front of the Aston Martin. Julian wanting to go for it too on his teammate. Yüksel stays ahead for now. Oh, Yüksel hitting the wall also in the castle section. And not going fast at all. Maybe team orders here at Aston Martin are necessary. I think Yüksel went off the power, but Yüksel losing another position to the McLaren of Davy, and losing another position to Jarno, and there's contact and Yüksel is off. Yüksel going off the escape road after contact. Jarno also going off in the Williams. And after contact, both cars going off. And Ferrari of Charles also going off in sector 3. What is it with cars going off in sector 3? Meanwhile, Damiano Insanity on the soft tire, setting the fastest lap time, and Black Box wanting to make a move on Fruitful, but Fruitful defending for now on his soft tires. Black Box does have the DRS on Fruitful. Will Fruitful defend? Fruitful does not push with his ERS. Black Box is not going for it on Fruitful yet. And we see the cars Constantine are up behind. So it's the McLaren of Damiano Insanity very close behind Yagizan, Black Box and Fruitful. Oh, as Damiano Insanity locks up, cuts the chicane, gets a 3-second time penalty after cutting the chicane. I don't think he had any choice whatsoever there to cut the chicane. So hopefully for him that penalty gets removed. Julian behind at a fair distance from the top 4, hitting the wall at the castle section. Does he have damage? I can't see any damage yet, but Davy on the medium tires is very close behind and is lurking for the position. Julian still in front of Davy, but for how much longer? In the Alpine car, Meneer van den Berg is also looking behind in P7, and Davy is very close to the rear of Julian. Julian not having a lot of top speed in comparison to Davy. Oh, it's Fruitful getting overtaken by both cars here on the main straight. Fruitful passed by Black Box and Yagizan. Yagizan P2, Black Box P1. So the DRS helping both cars getting past Fruitful for the lead and second place in this race. Fruitful relegated to P3, but Yagizan with the DRS He's going through the inside of Black Box and overtakes Black Box. Going into turn 3, but Black Box wants to go for it again. Does not go for it again. And has to wait to go for it again. On Yagi-san. Yagi-san into the lead of the not the Bahrain Grand Prix. We are past the Bahrain Grand Prix. Yagi-san into the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Davey now 2.2 seconds behind his McLaren teammate Damiano Insanity. As already this Grand Prix is setting a lot of errors from the drivers themselves. Yüksel for a second time into the pits already. As Fruitful starts to struggle on his soft tires, does still have the DRS on Black Box, but at no chance whatsoever to keep the lead with both cars having the DRS. And we see Yagi-san having his lights on the rear. That means he can't deploy any ERS anymore. So does that mean Yagi-san does not have any DRS left? Or does it mean he didn't have any ERS left for the previous lap? And looking at his steering wheel, he has 11% of ERS left. And that means Black Box can go for it if he just waits a little bit longer. How much ERS had Fruitful left? Fruitful has been saving up some ERS and is maybe playing the long game here on the two guys in front. Damiano Insanity around the 40% mark of ERS left. But Yagi-san, I think, trying to push as much ERS to get out of the DRS of Black Box, but that didn't work for him. The Alpine of Meneer van den Bergen very close to Julian. Julian has stayed out, is still in P6. Meanwhile, Davey is closed up to his McLaren teammate in front. And that means P1 to P8 are all, sorry, P9 even, are all within 1 second of each other, making it a massive DRS train. If it were not for Fruitful making a mistake at the final rail corner of the circuit out of DRS, but inside the DRS is Black Box behind Yagi-san. Yagi-san doesn't have any ERS left. Black Box makes it an easy move on the Turkish driver into P1. And the McLaren is still behind Fruitful. Not able to pass. Davey behind both drivers. Well, Damiano Insanity lets pass Davey. Let's pass his teammate. Well, there is a battle for the lead going on. Didn't see that happen as soon as I had to. But there is a battle for the lead going on, and Yagi-san into the lead, forcing his way past Black Box. And that brings the drivers behind a lot closer here. While Sven and Julian are also side by side going into the castle section of the circuit. Julian stays in front of Sven in P7. Julian is struggling in his Aston Martin. And looking at the gaps now, Black Box almost losing 1 second to Yagi-san, and that's exactly what Yagi-san wants to see, because he wants to see a second gap to Black Box, not giving the DRS to Black Box. Behind those two, it's Davey who was let past by Damiano Insanity earlier this race. Very close to Fruitful with the DRS. Surely that means an easy pass. Well, I think there has been an incident involving Leonard. Meanwhile, Davey going up into the podium positions in his McLaren. Well, Julian is the first of the regular drivers to pit. And let's see if there is a front wing change on the car. There's not a front wing change on the car. And Julian going for the medium tire. So Julian going for the one stop. While Leonard has a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. Meneer van den Bergen and Damiano Incenti side by side going through turn 3. Has Meneer van den Bergen made it work? Yes, he has. The Alpine driver up into P5. Meanwhile, at the rear of the field, more drivers pitting. So Jarno and Joop both pitting while Fruitful made a mistake. That means the Alpine driver is right behind Fruitful. And there has been a retirement while Fruitful goes wide. And you did see a lot of overtaking there at Baku. But Meneer van den Bergen has made it stick on Fruitful. Fruitful relegated to P5 from pole position. Pole position has not been the best position for drivers in the Talent Factory League, because last race Sven from pole position. Oh, Fruitful going off! Fruitful going off in sector 3. Hopefully for him he doesn't have damage, just losing a rear, it seemed. Well, Damiano goes into the pit lane. Fruitful losing the rear, and the pole position man has been relegated to P8, going into the pit lane. Also getting a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And his day has gone from good to bad to very bad. After being overtaken. Now replacing his front wing after his crash in the 3rd sector. And looking at both Alfa Romeos. Sven close behind Jerry van Bussel in P5. And the Alpine driver in P4. Both profiting from the fact that Fruitful made the mistake in sector 3. Jerry letting pass Sven. Letting pass his teammate, who he knows is probably faster at the moment. So both drivers playing the team game. Good to see that. Yellow again. Is that Fruitful once again making a mistake? It does look like Fruitful made a mistake once again in the middle sector, while Milan hitting the wall. And the man who was the favorite to win here in Baku has made one mistake too many, hitting the wall. And surely this won't be the result he has hoped for. Being overtaken by Damiano Incenti, who has already made his pit stop. And that means Milan is into P11, having not made any pit stop whatsoever. But looking at the top 3, Davy from P11, winner at Bahrain, is very close to the top 2. Of Blackboxing Yagizan has made up a lot of positions to get as close as he has. Yagizan, looking at the steering wheel, is 11% ERS. Blackbox a little bit over half ERS left. Davy has 70% ERS left. So of these 3 drivers, Davy looking like the one, the most chance of overtaking at the main straight, as Blackbox goes into the wall. The Mercedes driver making a mistake. Does that mean damage for the Mercedes driver? I didn't saw any carbon fiber or any pieces of front wing, as Jarno has retired in the pit lane. And this will give motivation to Davy to overtake Blackbox, who is in P2 in the championship. These early rivals for the championship, still very early here, as Yagizan still leads the way. Davy trying to get past Blackbox to get an advantage in the championship. But you see the Turkish driver in front of Black Box, Yagizan, still with his lights blinking. And Black Box and Davy both see this, so they know the driver in the AlphaTauri does not have a lot of ERS left. Well, what happened here? Oh, it's a 3 wide going into turn 3. Both Alfa Romeo's getting past Meneer van den Bergen. Oh, is Meneer van den Bergen into back of Sven. And it was momentarily 3 wide as there's a yellow flag, yellow flag, yellow flag. It's Joop in P15 hitting the wall at the exit of the castle section. But let's head back to Black Box once again making a mistake. Last time I don't think he got damage. But did he get damaged this time? It looks like it. Black Box really going slowly towards turn 15. Davy in the rear of the Mercedes driver, looking to make a move. Surely with DRS and some ERS he can get past the Mercedes driver. Question is, will the Mercedes driver go into the pit lane to replace any parts of his car, so the front wing and the tires? And it looks like the Mercedes driver stays out, but the AlphaTauri driver of Yagizan pulls into the pit lane as Davy moves up into the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Black Box in P2. Where will Yagizan come out? Is Sven momentarily into P3, Jerry van Bussel into P4, and Meneer van den Bergen also being overtaken by both Alfa Romeos into P5. There's a yellow flag. Yellow flag for Fruitful, heading backwards in a Red Bull at the exit of the castle section. And it's even worse for the Red Bull driver for now. And this is exactly what we spoke about earlier. He just wants to get past these track limits and just wants to go to the pit lane to retire the car, I think. Because he's done with this race and wants to finish in the pit lane. Fruitful definitely has the speed to battle these drivers. But just getting confident with the line is just such a hard task. Fruitful, 5 seconds penalty into the pit lane and retiring inside the pit lane. It just wasn't his day yet. At least he has points because he gets 2 points for the pole position. But that was definitely not the way he wanted to finish this race. Meanwhile, Julian at the back of Yagizan. So Julian, massive undercuts. Also Yagizan on the hard tire. That surely means if Davy pits, he will be behind Julian. So if the drivers in front, the top 5 will pit, Julian will be the leader of the race. But question is, will these tires last until the end of the race? And meanwhile, not changing a lot of positions at the front of the field. Black Box still within DRS of Davy. Black Box not having a lot of ERS left. Davy having over half his ERS left. So really going strong here today in Azerbaijan. And I think Black Box had the pace to stay in front of Davy, but just making those mistakes invited Davy into the lead while both drivers hit the wall. I don't think any damage was done to the drivers. Well, there's yellow sector 1. Yüksel in the Aston Martin spun around. Yüksel also having a miserable race today. Qualified pretty well, but from there on out just went downhill. from the Aston Martin driver. While Sven goes into the pit lane, and let's see where he comes out. Also, meneer Van den Bergen in the Alpine car also into the pit lane. Where will these drivers come out? Will it be behind Julian and Jagizan? It will definitely be behind Julian and Jagizan, because they have moved past the pit lane already. And Jagizan pretty close to Julian. And let's look at the tires they have on. Julian having 5 lap old medium tires, having to go 13 laps more in the race. That means his tires will be 18 laps old at the end, and that will put them pretty close to puncture territory. As if it weren't bad enough, Julian is not pulling away from Jagizan with the medium tires. So the advantage of the tire may be completely undone while Yüksel retires from this race. The advantage of the medium tire might be completely undone because of the fact that Jagizan can stay within the DRS of Julian. Will that mean, though, that Jagizan has a good chance of winning this race? Blackbox and Davy still having the pits. There they go. The moment I said it. Going into the pit lane. Will they go for the soft tire, I wonder? Let's look on board with the Mercedes. He does go for the soft tire and goes for a wing change. So there was damage to the wing of the Mercedes. And as we said, Julian going into the lead of the race. But Jagizan behind is very close and can't make a move at the second DRS straight. Will he go for it? He is not pushing his ERS yet. So just waiting to make the move. Davy getting out behind Jagizan into P3 on the hard tire. So not like a black box opting for the soft tire, but for the harder compound of tire. So that means Davy will do 12 laps on these hard tires, 13 if you count this lap as well, and as many laps on the medium tire. So split his race exactly in half with the compound of tires. While Jagizan here is the hard runner that is in front of Davy. How long can Julian keep this up? Can he stay in front of Jagizan? Your guess in the chat. So say in the comments, who do you think is going to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here at the Baku City Circuit? Who is your bet for the win? And if I have to say so myself, while Black Box is getting past Damiano Insanity on the main straight with his soft tires, I think Jagizan or Black Box with his alternate strategy choice do both have a very good chance of winning this race. It all depends on the Mercedes drivers' tires lasting until the end. Let's look at the different compounds of tires. So Black Box, the only driver on the soft tire. In front of him, only hard tires except for Julian, who's on 7-lap-old medium tires. Behind Charles, even older medium tires. Shirley would have to box again. And Ozia Iliam in the Haas, 3-lap-old medium tires, as old as the hard tires of Jagizan. Let's turn on some telemetry and lap data. Jagizan now is pushing his ERS, has 27% left. looking at Julian, he has 35% left, so advantage to Julian. But Yagizan has the advantage of the DRS. He turns on the DRS now, and you see he just, without pushing any ERS, he's gaining on the Aston Martin. And the gap now down to less than 4/10 of a second, while Black Box sets the fastest lap of the race so far, 39.2. Yellow's sector 3, and it's the Haas of IFRA Steph, and it's a safety car. Safety car here at the Baku City Circuit, and one driver who likes to see that safety car is Black Box on his soft compound of tire. Probably the driver with the highest chance of winning this race right now. Of course, the laps behind the safety car mean the tires won't wear as much as they would in racing conditions. So that means he can stretch those softs even longer. Davey on the hard tires. And Jagizan also on the hard tires. What will Julian do? Julian, of course, has the oldest tires of all on the softer compound, so the medium compound. Which drivers will pit? Which drivers will stay out? Milan, behind in the Mercedes, is on the hard tires. And I expect Charles to pit for softs. And Milan probably as well. So the drivers in front are just having a dilemma right now. Will they pit and give up track position? Yes, Julian will. Yagizan will also pit, as does Davey. So they will all pit behind the safety car to give up track position to Jerry van Bussel in the Alfa Romeo and go for the softer compound of tire. And where's Black Box? Black Box also pitting and setting on a new set of soft compound tires. My guess would have been him staying out to get in front of all those drivers, but he's getting into the pits for a new a new pair of tires. And suddenly Julian has the lead, and not just like we saw before on old medium tires, but now on new soft tires. Jerry van Bussel still has the lead of the race, excuse me, but he is on old hard tires. And these old hard tires, I expect him to be dropping down the field like a stone, because these tires are nothing against the soft tires of the runners behind. And what has Milan done? Milan is on the hard compound of tire. His car, meanwhile, ghosted. Charles still on the medium tire, as is the Alpine of meneer Van den Bergen. Inosja Elan in the Haas car, also ghosted. Damiano Incenti in front with his time penalty from earlier on in the race. So at the moment, the top 10, Jerry van Bussel in P1, Julian in P2, Yagizan in the AlphaTauri in P3, Davey in P4, Sven P5, Black Box P6, Damiano Incenti in P7, Inosja Elan P8, meneer Van den Bergen P9, Charles P10. The points being positions. Milan behind in his Mercedes. It doesn't look like he's driving himself if the car is ghosted. We don't know for sure. But will he box under the safety car? I think nobody else has boxed. No, nobody else has boxed yet. No. Milan will slot in behind Charles in the Ferrari, and with 11 runners left. We'll go for it again, I think, at the end of this lap, when the safety car comes in, and Jerry van Bussel in the Alfa Romeo can decide the pace and can decide when to go on the power when the safety car comes in. So Julian absolutely making the strategy work by going to the medium tire, having the advantage of the faster compound, getting past Yagizan on track, and now with the soft tire in front of Yagizan, who has medium tires. So Yagizan, not believing the medium tires can last, the soft tires can last until the end of the race. Looking at the other tires, it's new soft tires for Julian, Davy, Sven, Black Box and Damiano Insanity, while Yagizan almost loses it in the castle section. New medium tires for Yagizan and the Alpine of Meneer van den Bergen. Charles also has new medium tires. And hard tires for Jerry van Bussel and Milan in P11. I think we'll get the message that the safety car is coming in right about now. So let's wait for that. There it is, safety car in this lap. So Jerry van Bussel can decide the pace in the Alfa Romeo. Needs to wait for the safety car to come in. Then he will decide when to go on the power, releasing the field for a sprint race here at Baku. He's not going for a jet, he's not going for a jet. Wants to go as late as possible to stop the drivers behind from having the slipstream. Yagizan reacted the latest. Davy alongside Yagizan already in the Alpha Tauri. Can he brake later than the Alpha Tauri? He does brake late, but Yagizan around the outside stays ahead, and it's Sven in the Alfa Romeo almost wanting to make a move on Davy. Black Box hitting Sven, because you saw Sven just losing the rear end. That was due to contact with the Mercedes. And the car staying in formation for now. Well, Julian wants to get past Jerry van Bussel as soon as possible on his fresh soft compound of tire, and use those compound of tires to get as far away from the field as possible to make a gap to Yagizan. Jerry van Bussel really slow through the castle section. You can see that Julian is being held up here. Gap just a bit less than 4/10 of a second, but Yagizan behind also very close. Also on the 4/10 of a second. But I think this will be the moment where the lead of the race will go to the Aston Martin driver. Jerry van Bussel not pushing any ERS. Julian was pushing ERS at the exit, pushing once again. Jerry van Bussel also pushing his ERS. But I think this will be an easy move for the Aston Martin driver. Julian alongside the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo does brake late, but Julian going on the outside to take the lead of the Grand Prix here. And immediately Yagizan on the rear of Jerry wants to go with Julian, because he knows his only chance of winning this Grand Prix lies here, lies in getting past Jerry as soon as possible, and he does that on the exit of turn 4. Yagizan into P2 behind Julian, and this will be the battle for the lead. Yagizan versus Julian. And just the drivers behind concertinaing up due to how slow Jerry is going on those hard tires. Can he make it work though? He's in a podium position for now. But the next few laps will be very hard for Jerry to keep that position, to keep that third place. Black Box, Damiano Insanity, Meneer van den Bergen, Charles also looming behind. While Charles having a bad exit onto the main straight. Looming behind to get past Jerry. Davy into the slipstream with the DRS. The ERS, not the DRS yet. Getting past easily. While Black Box, meanwhile, is moving up the field into P5. Getting past Sven as well. So Black Box, knowing that he can get a good result out of this race, while the DRS has become active. Black Box behind Jerry. Will he move around the outside of turn 3? He will move around the outside and will make it work on Jerry. Will Sven be let pass by his teammate? Because they both know that is holding up Sven. But Jerry still in P5 and not moving out of the way yet. And meanwhile in front, Yagizan on the medium tire, keeping close to Julian. But Julian having the advantage of the ERS. Yagizan only having 25% ERS. Julian having double that. Going on to the main straight. Will this be an overtake for the lead of the race? We'll go on board with Julian. We'll spectate Julian. Julian still in front, but of course Yagizan having the DRS, pushing the little ERS he has. Julian moving towards the inside. Yagizan around the outside. He gets past. Meanwhile Davy setting the fast lap. It's Yagizan back in front. So Julian on the soft compound of tire can't keep hold of that P1. Or is his plan to get past Yagizan on the second DRS straight? He's catching very rapidly, but not able to get past Yagizan. And Davy behind also looking to get past. Setting the fastest lap, so we know he has pace. But does he have the pace to pass both drivers to take his second victory here of the 4th season of the Talent Factory League? All drivers are very close up to P8. Behind Charles, having lost a bit to Meneer van den Bergen in P8. And talking about the retirements, there's a lot of retirements this race. 6 to be precise, while Charles gets a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corner at turn 15. Black Box behind Davy is pushing his ERS. Davy not having a lot of ERS left too. Black Box gaining on Davy, gaining on Davy. Will Black Box make a move on Davy? He moves towards the outside, moves towards the inside, but can't get the move done on Davy. And once again in the closing stages of the race, Black Box and Davy battling each other, while Damiano Insanity has made a mistake. He spun coming out of turn 1. I don't know exactly what happened there, but let's get back to the fight for the podium. You just see that Black Box is so close to Davy. But does he have an opportunity to get it past Davy? Davy making a mistake. Black Box take the advantage of the mistake made by Davy and getting into the podium positions. While Sven is also very close to Davy. And suddenly Davy has been relegated to P4. And can Blackbox move his way further up towards Julian and Yagizan? Meanwhile, Julian having lost contact to Yagizan, being outside the 1 second window of DRS. Blackbox needs to push if he wants to get within DRS of Julian. Julian having 30% of ERS left, and already back into the DRS range of Yagizan and using that DRS to get closer to the Turkish driver. Meanwhile, I think the AI of IFR Milan getting past Damiano Incenti in the McLaren because he does not have a front wing anymore. And I think this battle will be one to watch. Blackbox not having a lot of ERS left. Davy also not having a lot of ERS left. Blackbox able to stay in front of Davy for now. Sven looming behind. Last lap, Davy made a mistake at the exit of the chicane, which allowed Blackbox to get past. Will Davy put as much pressure on Blackbox as Blackbox did on Davy before? As Blackbox does make a mistake, Davy goes for the inside at the exit of the castle section and gets past the Mercedes driver. Sven also wanting to go past the Mercedes driver, but he can't just yet. And it's Davy getting past Blackbox once again at a place you don't expect it to. But the question is, does Blackbox have damage? And I think he does have some damage, because he's losing a lot of time to Davy. Sven tucks in behind and breaks out of the slipstream. Will Sven take both positions here at the main straight in Baku? He will! Sven moving up to P3, overtaking both Davy and Blackbox, and it's a three-way battle here for the final position of the podium. Davy wants to go down the inside of Sven, not being able to complete the move. Davy is catching Sven by a rate of knots, but not being able to get past the Alfa Romeo driver just yet. And I can tell you which driver of these three will finish on the podium. Or maybe it will even be Meneer van den Bergen, who takes a 3-second time penalty for track limits. A very weird place to do so. But he also got very close to all these drivers. And Van den Bergen getting into the rear of the Mercedes. And that is damage for the Mercedes, hitting the wall at the castle section. And maybe that all started with damage. Blackbox Blackbox losing his entire front wing, getting passed by Jerry van Bussel in the other Alfa Romeo. Blackbox not having any front wing left. And in the closing stages of this race, it all goes wrong for the Mercedes driver. The battle for P1, I don't see it changing. Maybe at the end of the final lap, which we head into now. But will this be a battle to watch out for going into the final lap? Oh, Sven losing it! Sven losing it on the curb. Davy going back into P3. And now Sven has the DRS. Oh, let's go back to Sven. Sven has the DRS. He's alongside Davy and getting past Davy once again after making a mistake coming out of turn 1. And Sven back in front. Sven having a bit over 10% of ERS left. Davy having around 30% ERS left. So Davy might be able to make a move on the main straight of this final lap. But Sven very lucky to gain back the position after making the mistake out of turn 1. But let's look at the battle for the lead. Or can we call it a battle? The battle that is not being a battle for now, because Yagizan has pulled out of the DRS range. The choice for the medium tire seemed to be the better one. It will be the Turkish driver who wins his first race in the Talent Factory League. It will be LR Yagizan who wins here in Baku. It will be Julian who takes home second place, and Davy with the DRS. Not exactly sure what happened there, but Jerry van Bussel getting P4, Sven P5, and Davy the final spot on the podium. Behind them, Meneer van den Bergen in P6, Charles in P7, Black Box coming home in P8 after a race that was not meant to be his. Milan coming home in P9, and Inosia Elian in the Haas. P10, while Damiano Insanity in the McLaren comes home P11, final of the running drivers. And that means we have a new winner here in the Talent Factory League. It will be, and it is, LR Yagizan, who wins his first race here on the streets of Baku. Julian getting his first podium after a non-score in Bahrain, and Davy getting back-to-back podiums with a P1 and a P3 now in Baku. As the AlphaTauri driver celebrates his first win here in the league. And let's say that Yagizan, I expected him to finish on the podium with his pace, but the other two drivers have done very well to finish on the podium, and I don't think they even themselves expected to finish on the podium. So Yagizan from P3 finishes P1, Julian behind him, Davy with the fastest lap of the race, giving him 2 points, finishes in P3. Jerry van Bussel in the Alfa Romeo finishes P4 with Sven close behind. Meneer van den Bergen in the Alpine finishing P6 with Charles in the Ferrari P7. Black Box in P8 with his teammate Milan in P9. Inosia Elan last of the points positions in P10. P11 for Damiano Insanity, P12 for IFRA Steph, P13 for Yuxel, P14 for Fruitful, and it's TF Joop in P15, P16 for Jarno, and P17 for TGGA Leonard. Let's invite the drivers on the podium, so Yagizan, Julian and Davy, to the party. And let's see if they all will join. And hopefully we'll have sounds this time, so the interview can be done and can be heard on stream. Julian, Davy and Yagizan. L or Yagizan. Can't find him in the list yet, but I know I have him on this account. Okay, let's just first invite Julian and Davy to the party. And then we'll search for Yagizan. LR Yagizan. So all three drivers have been added to the party, and we'll wait for them So, Davey, first of the drivers to join the interview. Let's just start with you then. Congratulations, another podium. Um, okay, so Davey telling me
Hello.
he has to
Yo.
enable his share
I
voice
check.
sharing. So
Can
you've
you hear
did
me?
that. Hello, Davey. Congratulations, another podium. Did you expect
Thanks.
that after once again not making Q3?
Uh, no, but in 3 laps, the pace was good. And then I overtook some cars. Yeah, the safety car was a bit unlucky,
Hmm.
but maybe next time a win. Good points.
Yeah, two podiums after one another, at least getting good points, and that puts you in the lead once again, or still in the lead
Yeah.
of the championship. One thing, at the start of the race, you were making up a lot of positions on those medium tires. Did you feel comfortable on those
Yeah.
tires?
Really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
So
Yes.
Julian also in the party. Congratulations, Julian. P2. Do you have your voice sharing allowed so that everyone hears you in the stream? Okay, let's just give you the question for now so that you can think about your answer until you have allowed your voice to be shared. Um, okay, so did you expect to be finishing P2 today? Because not really, because um, your strategy was bang on for as far as I was concerned. Hmm. So you pitted, yeah, you pitted for the mediums, massively undercut Jagizan. You overtook him on track, and then the safety car. You went to the soft tires. Jagizan went to the medium tires. Was that a mistake from you to go to the softs? So mistake. Yeah, yeah. Really well done. I think strategy in this race, for most part, being just survive to finish in a good position, and you two have done that. Yagizan too, but he's not in the party with us. Um, but I'm sure he would agree with that. Um, do you have anything to say on stream? Okay, so you're engineer. Oh, it was a good strategy finishing in P2 from where you came from. Um, so thanks everyone at home
Yo, that's
for
Mike.
watching this stream. For watching the stream, and I will end the stream now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.